Hi, my name is Ricardo. I'm a front-end developer and success manager for an A/B testing tool. And in the past 2.5 years, I have used JavaScript extensively to build A/B tests, and have also seen what are the struggles of if you don't have any clue what JavaScript is or what it does, or even if you feel threatened about it, and how it can block you from building A/B tests, basically. Well, having that in mind, I have come up with a series of videos, not only JavaScript, but HTML, CSS, and I will be discussing many other things as well related to A/B testing. So for today, I will be talking about JavaScript and the main concepts that you should know if you want to basically build A/B tests. So, well, let's not take too much time, but let's look right into it. So, well, for today, I will be basically sharing here my screen, and then I have here my Visual Studio, and I have here as well basically my browser. You will see that I already have some elements that I have created. I have a title, I have a button, I have here something that looks like a form or something to get a notification with basically three inputs: name, email, and this what looks like a button, but it's also an input which submits that form. We have here a link, and we have a broken image, which is there for a reason. And basically, well, let's start from the beginning. If we basically look here, we will see that I have created already a roadmap for what we are going to be covering today. There's quite a few things there, but I don't intend to make you a developer basically, because if you would want to be a developer, you would have to cover much more about JavaScript. So here are literally the main concepts that you need to know if you want to build A/B tests. So, well, let's start by how do we target elements using JavaScript? How can I, for example, get this button here or this title or any element there? So let's look into how we do that. Before I show you that, I also want to explain something. When we are creating elements, we will basically save those elements inside variables. And we have three different type of variables. One that's not much used these days, which is called a var, which is a variable that is saved on a global scope of the document or of what you're doing there for JavaScript. You will also have another one. Well, let me basically just move here. You have another one that is a let, and let, when you create elements with a let, basically you can redefine these elements over time, so that's no problem. And we have an element which basically, well, we have here the let, and then we have here a const. Basically, a const is an element which once you set it, basically this is the value, and if you would create another const with the same, you will basically be overriding and you will start getting errors there. But well, that's literally just for awareness. So as you will see that I will be using over and over, mainly I will use either a let or a const. So, well, let's see how we can target elements. Of course, there's two different ways that we can target elements. One of them is you can target a single element, or you can target multiple elements at the same time when they are similar, for example. So let's suppose we want to target this element over here. Well, for that I could look in my HTML, but let's get used to working with elements through the console as well. So I will inspect this page, right click on it, and then go to inspect. And I will move straight away to the console over here. You see my console is clean. If you select this option, we can select any of the elements of the screen, and we'll get also some information about those elements as well. So let's look at the title. I will select the title. I see that this is an H1, and I see that it's inside the body, which makes sense because everything that we see on the screen is inside the body. And well, we see that there are other elements, but I'm only interested in the age one. So let's make it a bit more specific, although I don't expect other age ones to be present in that page. Let's be specific and target like using the model show and then move to the age one. So I will declare like a const and I will give the name of page title, and then I have to say equals, and then I will look into the document, and then I will use this approach using a query selector, open parentheses, quotations can either be a single or double quotation marks, and then I will use the dot, which refers to that class, as you can see here, and then I know that after that I'm looking for the h1. So just looking here, the structure we just created, basically I declared a const, and then the const here is the page type, page title. You see that I have page written in small letters and the T of title like capital, and this using a convention of camel case, which basically after every word you would just like you make one word, and then you will the first letter of the next word you will make it capitalized basically, and all together. So like I have page title, I say I could write like h1. Well, there you see that I have capital H, but well, you get the concept. Basically, anything that comes after, every time the first letter, you will capitalize it, just using a little bit of the convention. All right, so now how do we test that this element is working? Well, let's, I wanted to wait for the end, but let's already look into it. If we are building these elements, well, I will move here now first to the console. I have two ways. I could just get my element here and paste it here, and then you can see that it's, well, basically gives an undefined, and then I can get the name of my const now, which is page title, paste it, and I see that I get an h1. So that worked. I targeted the h1 in this case. But another way that we can also do, and you will see that would be in the end of my list, which is one of the best friends of JavaScript, one of them is a console log. And what we can do with a console log. So basically we'll see that if I declare console.log, open parentheses, and well, I have two options. I can pass a string, I can make calculations there, for example, 1 plus 1. You will see that, well, if I do that, let me just do that, and I will save, and you see that I get a 2. So I can do logic inside console logs as well, just for you to know. So what I want to do here, I want to pass this, but let's also give it, for the reference, let's also give it a name for that. So I want to say that is the name I should do in as a string, so page title. Then I will just do that. And then here outside I will do a comma, and then I will pass a variable that I want to see there. And you will see that if I do that, I already get right away page title, then the dash that I put it here. So this is basically a string, and I'm getting an h1 here. So I don't see the content that is inside there. Although if I select the tag there, you will see that I get a lot of options of what I could target from this element. So you will see that, for example, if I want to, we will look a bit more extensively in one of the next steps, but you see that I even can get the content of those elements as well, as you can see over here. But alright, well, basically this is how we can select an element. How do we do that for multiple elements now? Just clean here my console that I have some space there. So let's select multiple elements. So it would work somewhat similar. I will declare a const, and then for that I want to see model inputs. I want to select those elements here because I see and I know that those are multiple elements and they are similar. So those are all inputs as I mentioned earlier. And then I'll do equals and document dot queries selector, and then I will do that. And then over here I will do the model. Well, no, not wait. I will do, let's see here. Let's just inspect, but I know that is the model. So I will target that model there, which is a class, and then I want to look into the inputs. Well, if I want to be more specific, I know that they are inside a form as well. So let's see. All right, let's see. Well, we can see if the element worked by doing a console.log here, and then I will just plot. You'll see that here I will just look for my element and I will see what I will get. Let me save the document. Okay, I got a no, so something is wrong here. Okay, it's because it's not inputs but in inputs singular. And you'll see here I got like only one. That's because I have the same structure than up here. But if I want to get multiple ones, I need to add here after the query selector, I need to do all. And you will see that after I save now, instead of one element, I have a node list which contains an array with 3 inputs. Well, I won't be necessarily explaining what is an array in this class, but an array, well, very short, is basically just an element that will contain elements inside of it. So in this array or in this node list, we have 3 inputs. And you will see that if we look at the inputs, we will see that they are at the order that they exist. So we will see that instead of like the name being input 1, and this be 2 and this 3, no, we in JavaScript, those inputs or in the node list, they will be numbered starting from 0. So let's see. If I would, for example, here now do a square bracket and do a 0, you will see that I will get now only one input because I'm targeting only the input in the index 0. And you will see that this input is, well, let's see, do we have anything that we can refer to what it is? Well, basically, we can refer to, let's see if we scroll down a little bit more. So far I'm not finding anything that we can, oh, okay, here I can refer and I see that there is a placeholder. So for example, I could like also more easily get like the, let's say, I get that dot placeholder. Let's see what we get now. Okay, no, we don't get nothing. Oh, okay, that's because we got an error there as well. Dot placeholder. Let's see. Okay, so you see that the placeholder is name. So I see that I refer to the element and I know what the element is really about. But well, I basically already knew because before I got like the input based on the, well, I get the node list here and then I know that the first one is that. But if I want to really know exactly what is it in it, I can do what I just did basically. Well, for the sake of the example, I will just comment out those here. Then we don't have our console like super full of things already. All right, so how can we change an element using JavaScript? Well, depends on the element. If we are talking about, well, we can change, for example, let's change the title here. Well, right now we have hello JavaScript for A/B testing. So let's ensure I will just go to the title here and I want to remove that hello and I want to remove that true. Let's just leave a JavaScript for A/B testing. So this is my original text now. I will save that and I will do that. Well, okay, so I have that. So now let's, using JavaScript, change that element into something else basically. Well, I could declare it again here, but I will just reuse the element as I have it here. So no, let's do it differently. I will get another one. No, let's not overcomplicate things. I will get here. I already have my element that I got it up there, so I can literally just use it here. And then what I can do here, I can just do dot. And then remember earlier that we saw that the elements had multiple things inside of them. Well, basically we can see that if I would here just console.log and then I pass that. Alright, so I have an age1 and the age1 has many attributes that we can target. So I'm more interested into the inner HTML and the inner text. So if I would go here to the inner text, let me stop doing that, I just have to save. You'll see that now I have the content of that element. So I would get it over here. right, so I know that now I have the content JavaScript AB. Well, basically it's written wrong there, so let me just fix it. JavaScript for A/B testing. All right. And then what I want to do here, I have now that text there, and then I want to change it for something else. So I can do equals, double quotes, and then I can just do, let's say, I want to change it. Basics of JavaScript for A/B testing. And if I save it, you will see that now I have changed it here, the element there as well. Likewise would be if I would change, let's say, for example, I want to move it and change it like also for something else. I want to change the HTML. Well, for this element, it doesn't change much because I don't have any HTML inside the H1. But let's suppose if I had it, so let's make an example here. Let's say I have a spam here. Okay, let me just delete. I want to stop that, and then I have spam. I will move that to here and to here. Oh, that's very uncommon. You often won't find this, although I have already seen that before, but overall you shouldn't have something like that. But you will always see of everything on the internet, basically. Well, if you save it, if I would inspect this element now, you see that, well, okay, here is actually still not saved. So let's save it here, and I'll again inspect the elements. Let me hard refresh. Okay, for some reason it's not updating there, and I think it's probably because I'm already updating it over here. So basically I'm already doing that, so that's probably because of that. If I stop, let's stop here as well. Okay, so now you see that my H1, it contains like, well, basically the H1, and I have it spam inside it. Although I have seen already before that only by changing the text, I was already overriding the whole thing. I wouldn't expect that. I would expect that I would override only the text, but it makes sense as well if you think that the element inside it is like contains the text that I'm basically is inside H1. So that in that case, I think it's substituting everything. But yeah, you can basically, that's a simple way that you can just change the inner text or the inner HTML there. So yeah, very nice way. Let me just leave one of them here on. All right, so code that create a bug. Well, I will leave that for the end, so we will come back to that later. Then we here have like, well, hidden element, or not hidden, but hidden element and in element with JavaScript. So how can we do that? Well, we have multiple ways that we can do that. I will show you one way that we can hide with JavaScript using CSS, and one that we can hide using a function or a method, JavaScript method in this case. So let's do that with this element over here. So I will target this element. I will inspect. I know that this is inside the spam and has the class, which is this. I just double click the class there and then I have it. So I will declare const and then hide x model close icon. So you see I'm writing in camel case, so hide model close icon, so all the first letters are capital, and then I will do that, and then I will do document dot query selector, and then I want to, well, I only have one element, and then I want to do is a class. So let's hope that it worked. I expect it did, because it's a very simple way, but you never know. Alright, so now I have my element, so I will, well, let's use CSS first through JavaScript. So in order to apply a CSS using JavaScript, we will have to use a dot, and then a style, and then dots, and then dot, and then we can apply whatever style we want. So let's say we want to change the background of the element. So I could like do background. Originally you would have to do like background color, but background already will do the job there. So I will do equals and then double quotations, and let's say I want to put red. So you see that now the background of the element is red. I could just do the borders as well. So let's see, border, and then 1 pixel solid red, and then now it has that. So it's very simple. So let's hide the element. So I have two ways. I can use visibility, and then equals, and then hidden. Now the element, well, basically the space of it is gone, but the element is still there. Or I could also use just a normal like display none, basically. All right, so you see that both ways work. All right, so that's how we do it using CSS, or basically removing it using CSS. So you see that I even already had it here, so I will just leave it over here. And how do we do that using JavaScript? Same thing. Well, I'll use my variable here, and then we have basically a method which is called remove, followed by just empty parentheses. So I just want to apply that to in this way, this dot remove, well, hide the modal close icon dot remove, and then you will see that if I save, now it's gone as well. I will just uncomment out, and then you will see that it's there. And if I uncomment and apply, the element is gone. What is interesting is actually when you do that with JavaScript, it's literally gone from the DOM as well, or from the entire document. So this element doesn't exist now anymore. You see that it's gone basically. While if you do it just using CSS, you will literally just apply some CSS to the element. So you see that the element is there, but it just contains a style with display none. So that is also interesting about it. And this, you may be thinking, okay, when should I use one over the other? Well, what I see sometimes is that the dot remove method, it's quite efficient, when, especially when you're dealing with SPA websites, because it will keep applying it. So in this way, you are literally removing the element from the document, basically. While this one is also efficient because you're applying a style, but yeah, it elements sometimes can be rewritten and things like that. So there are some cases that this might not be very efficient. All right, so well, now we already know how to basically remove elements using CSS and Java, or a method using both using JavaScript. So let's take a look. How can we manipulate and set or change attributes? What are attributes? Well, I have basically two examples. I want to change, well, as I mentioned earlier, I have this link over here, which right now is not doing nothing because it just has a hash. So you will see that right here in the URL. If I click, it will add my hashtag there. So nothing happens. All right, so what do we want to do here? Well, I want to target that element, and I know that the class of it is JS video link. So let's see, I just want to, okay, let's do that. So it's a const, and then video, or not like that, but video link equals document dot, and then I will just use a shortcut here because that's easier, and then is a class that. All right, you will see that there are multiple ways. Well, a clean way is always declaring an element and then doing something to it. Another way that you can also do, like if you want to like avoid it, I could even remove that and just apply it straight away here, and you will see that well, basically if I do that, well, I have my element now. Then I want to change the age half, as you can see here, the age half. So I can do that, and then I set here, and then as you will see, I just want to set the link to that page there now. So let's see what happens, and if I save, now you see that the link to that page, it was added to the element. So let's see, if I right click it, basically it takes me to that other page, so that is nice. All right, so let's take a look here and let's see what else we can do. So let's now fix that image, because you see that the image is broken, and if we inspect the element, or as we can already see here, it doesn't have a src, which is basically the source or the image that we are referring to that should be displaying. So let's do that as well. We have multiple ways that we can do that. Again, I can use like something like document dot query selector, and then I will do that. Let me get here the, well, not JS video ternary, no, I just want to get this JS video image img dot and that, and then I could do src, and then again it's the same thing, and I will just refer to that image over here. It's a bit simpler, and then you see that if I do it, I have now my JavaScript logo over there. So that is really nice. That is one way. Of course, there is other ways as well. I could, for example, use like something like, let's see, I could use that. Let me break this or comment out this image now, and then I will save. You see the image is gone, so I could just bring my element back, and then I could do that, set attribute, and then basically the src is an attribute of the img image, and then I could do like it will take like two basically one name and one value, so to the name of the attribute. So I want to do the src and then equals, and then let's see, I want to get the link of that image over here. For this case, as we saw, it's an overkill this way, but it's just to show that you can do that as well. And you will see that if I apply that, I basically can do that. So it works in the same way, but of course we already have the shortcut that we can already go straight away to the src. But if we wanted to do that to an element which basically doesn't exist yet, we can always set that element to the specific element and then apply something to it. Perhaps one example could be, let's say we want to do a class to the body. So I could do document dot query selector, and then I want to do it to the body. Although this is an overkill, because if I'm doing the body, I could just document dot body. That's already referred to that, and then dot set, and then I want to do attribute, and then over here I could say page URL, and then, well, let's see what I'm gonna do here. So I will be doing, let me set with backticks, and then I want to do a variable in there, which is the location dot path name, and if I save and I look now into my body, let's see if I got it right. So you see that now in the body I have the page URL, and then I have the reference to the page that I'm doing that. And that is like quite useful, especially when you're dealing with SPAs, because SPAs or single page applications, often we have like some troubles because the URL that we see over here doesn't really represent that page. You know, sometimes it can be an element or something like that, and the routing is quite difficult to go around at times. However, what we can always do is, especially when you're navigating from one page to another, that page may not reload, you know, so you somewhat get lost in the fact that you don't know, or the system won't recognize what page you are really at. So you can always apply some code where you have like the page URL over here. So even though these may not be reliable, you will basically be able to apply stylings based on these data attributes, so you know that if you are applying something to the home page or to a PDP page or a product listing page, the cart page, and so on. So that is very helpful. All right, so let me comment out that, or this I don't even need actually, so let's leave that one over there. And then, well, let's take a quick look into event listeners, but to be more specific, I will be focusing only on click event listeners, because those are basically the ones we use all the time, like with A/B tests. So let's suppose, well, right now this element is in view, but let's suppose that we wanna make this element to show only when we click this button. So right now you will see nothing happens. So let's do that. You will see that over here in my body I have this modal show, and that's something that I really like, and I learned to like to use that, because we can always change something or do something to the body, and that will basically we can use that as the basis to change any element in the page. So let's see. Right now you see that it was displaying. If I save it, now the element is gone because I have some styling that is showing only when this class is present in the body. So let's show you how does event listeners work. So I will just put the class here just for my reference, and I will inspect here. Let's select this element. I see that is an ID, so I will, good to mention that when we are doing that, basically what we want to do here, we want to add this class to the body when the user clicks over here, but we also want to remove, like for example, when the user clicks there again, or when they would click on that X or the cross, the closing icon that we are removing on the other variation. So let's see how we do that. We could add an element, we can remove, or we can toggle it, which is like on one click you will add, on the other next click you will remove, So let's see how we do that. So I will declare a const, and then the name is out of stock btn. So again, using the convention, and then document dot query selector. I love using the visual the studio Visual Studio here, because I get all the shortcuts, so I don't have to type all by myself. So that's really nice. That saves me some time when I'm developing, basically. So I would definitely advise using something like a visual editor, something like that, or a Visual Studio. There's different ones. You have like this one, which is called Visual Studio. You have some other ones that are also good, but to be fair, I really learned to use the Visual Studio because you have a lot of extensions that you can add to it. As you see, I have the page that is already loading automatically because I'm using a live server there, so it's really helpful. All right, but let's go back to the event listener. Over here, I have my document.query selector, and then it's an ID, and then I will refer to it. So now I have my element. I will just save, and then I want to get now this, because that is the click on that element that should add that class, so that, and then I will add something that's called like add, and then you will see that I already get the shortcut to add event listener. And then I need a parenthesis, and then here will come the event that I want to use. As I said, I will be focusing here on the click event, but you have like many events that you can use. You can have like on type up, type down, and basically it's just like when you type it down on your keyboard, basically that's an event. When you leave it is another one. It's a lot used like in games and this kind of things. And you have like on page load, you have on when there's a change to an element, and many different types basically. So here I want to do on a click. You also have double click. You also have like right click. So you have many types of events there. And then I need a comma there, and then I will pass. Originally would be event, as it is a single one, and I like to abbreviate. I use a E. It's widely used that, and then I'll use like an arrow function, which I will explain a little bit as well more about it. But basically, it's just like this equal and this minor sign here, or smaller than, and then I will pass the curly braces, and then here I want to do something. So as I said before, I will add the class to the body, and I can do that by document dot body as we used before. Over here I will now, let's see, I want to apply a class to it, so I can do that by doing that class list dot, and I said I want to do a toggle. I could do a add, I could do a remove, or I can do add and remove on one click and the next, and then that, and then here I will pass my my class, which is this one. Keep in mind that we won't pass the dot, we don't need to refer because we already refer as the class list here, so we know that's a class. And then we have that element there. So if I save it now, let's go back here. You see that if I click that element now, let's see if something is happening. I think nothing is happening. Okay, so we see that something is not working properly here. So let's try to figure out what is it. Let's see if I change here. If I change here for document dot query selector, I'm gonna do the body. As I'm also making change to the body here, let me just stop those to avoid having any problems with those elements. So I have my button over here. Well, we can test to see if things are working. Remember I said I can do a console.log and then I will btn, I'll do that, and then I will bring my button there, I will save. Let's look here. Okay, so you see that something didn't work here, and it has to do with these inner text basics. So let's see, where is it? Okay, so something here is creating a problem. So I will just comment it out for now, and let's take another look at the console to see if we still have any error there. Okay, no error, and I see my element is there now. So I presume that if I try to click here, it should do what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, no, it's not. Something is still broken there. Okay, that's the body, and then the class list double document dot. Oh, okay, I see. I have a mistake here. I have twice document. I'll save. Let me go back to that. So basically, I already seen how I would debug when I see that, and this kind of like silly mistakes will happen all the time. All right, so you see that if I click one time, it appears. If I click the second time, it disappears. And if we look here in the body and I click, you see that the class was added. And if I click again, the class is removed. So that's what the toggling is doing. If I would do add, of course, I would click on the add and it would add. And if I keep, well, basically I can show what would happen here. It won't keep adding it because it already will exist there. So if I click add, so the class exists. If I click again, it doesn't add again because it's already there. And if I do now, for example, remove, well, basically, I won't, well, it's not gonna remove because the class doesn't exist there. But let's say if I would go back here and save, and I'll go back here and I click, and then it will remove. Of course, that doesn't make sense. I will just remove it here and I will leave it over here, and I want to do a toggle. Alright, so now you see that this and this, well, it shows and disappear on the click, so that's nice. Alright, so we don't need that anymore, so I'll delete. And then, well, let's look into if statements. If statements are quite important as well because, well, sometimes we want to do things that depend on conditions. If something happens, just do that, and so on. So let's suppose that we want to show an alert. Again, I will jump like into alerts. Basically, alerts will pop on the screen right when basically the condition triggers. So let's say I want to do, let me take a look here. Okay, there. So basically the structure is quite simple. So I have if, I'll write if, and then here within the parents I'll write my condition. And then after here I will have these opening and closing square brackets, and then I can do an else, and then else doesn't take a condition because if this is true, turns to be true, then this will be false, so nothing will happen here, and if this is false, it will jump to the next option, which in this case is an else. Keep in mind that if we have multiple options that we want to check, we can also do an else if as well. And then we can always end with an else as well for in case like none of the conditions apply there. And keep in mind that if we have an else if, then we do need to pass another condition here as well. Condition. So let's see a possible condition. Okay, I will declare here an element, which is an let. Let's say a number, and then I'll say this is equal 10, for example. Then it's just I have an integer here. So I would say like if number equals 10, I want to show an alert number equals 10, but this needs to be a string, of course. It can always be like single or double quotes, but when you open with one, you have to finish with the same or close with the same one. So if I see here, you will see number equals 10 because that was true. So let's suppose I want to do an else if, which I want to say number equals 8. You will see in this case is still the same because it was true already in the first one. But if I change it here now for a 7, and then I will show you what will happen here. This is an 8, and I want to add even another condition here to show even something else. And then I want to have another one here, which is an else. Else doesn't take conditions, it will just apply for whatever is left of options. And then I will add this here and then this here. And my condition is if number is greater than 6. But keep in mind, right now, if I would go with the way I have here, number is greater than 6, and then here number in this case is smaller than 6. Smaller, I have here greater, but it could be equals as well. So I have now it's equals, or I think is greater or equals. That's the way we have to put it, otherwise it becomes an error function there, and we don't want that to happen. So here you will see that the option that applied was this one, because, well, the number isn't equal to that, it isn't equal to 8, but it's greater or equals to 6. So you will see that even if I would put like here, like, let's say, if it's, if this one was a 6, it still would apply the same. I will have to close there, and then I will save here. Let's say, and then number is greater than 6. However, if I would now, okay, number is smaller than 6, so let's say I have a 5 here now, and then you will see that the number is smaller than 6. So you see that now is my else that applied there. So basically it's just a way that we can add multiple conditions. So this is a very simple way. And we of course have also a shortcut for that as well. Let me show how that works. Let me just comment this out for a moment. And then I will move here to what we call a ternary. Ternary is basically just a shortcut like for if-else statement. So here you will see that I declared a variable which is called is logged in, which is equals true. And then here I have a const which is called message, and then equals to this basically over here is logged in. If this is true, then we will show the message welcome back, else we will do please log in. So you will see that here I am using also another technique which I got, like you will see that in my HTML I have an element where basically I have this h3 which doesn't have nothing, that's why we don't see it right now. And you will see that I'm basically just doing the following. I am using I'm getting the element and then I'm changing the inner text of it, and I'm using like here backticks, and I'm adding as a variable, I'm adding this message here which will display whatever condition basically is true there. So here in this case, well, as this is true, let's see what's gonna happen. If I save, now I have welcome back because it's true. However, if I would change this to false, I have please log in. So this is an interesting way because we can also create some customization or personalization to some extent with that as well. All right, and then let's move into functions. Well, functions we already saw like methods, and they work like somewhat similar to functions. We have like the old way of function, which is well, let's show an example. So I have well, right here we have the old way of functions. Here I am calling an element in there. So let's say I just want to do calc, and then I want to return 1 plus 1, and then I want to do here, I want to say, let's say just calc, or let me console of that because otherwise we won't see nothing, and then it's calc, and then I'm gonna call my function. Basically I'm calling my function just by doing the calc and then the parentheses, and then we will see what is gonna return there. Let's look at the console here, and if I save, basically 1 plus 1 equals 2. So this is a simple way of doing a function basically. And functions are interesting because functions are elements that can be reused. So let's say if we are doing something that we want to reuse later on, I will have some example in some future videos. Basically you can reuse that code, you know. So I could, like, for example, create a calculation here. Let me think of a case here. So I could use like console.log. Let's see if that's gonna work. And then I want to do a calculation with this 1 or 2 times calc. Let's see if we are gonna get yes. So you see, I made a calculation, which is I did like 2 times the result of this. Well, I had 2 there, and then I did like another calculation reusing that. So I can reuse this in different contexts. Of course, you will have to create relevant functions to reuse it. And lastly, we have another way of creating functions, which is a slightly newer way, which we basically, it's more like a shortcut. You see that there's a lot here. We have the function name, and then we have the curly braces here. We have this return. So we have a new way, which we call it, like, let's say I could use, well, I will use the same example basically, but using the other option. So let's say I want to create a calc, which is equals to that, and then I'm doing something here, which is 1 plus 1 or plus 1, and then I just need to, okay, I want to call my function. Well, for that I will save that to a variable, or let's do it a let, which is a calculation equals that. So if I would do a console.log here, I can call that. So what do we get? Well, we are getting this now because it's not happening. So let me just see, what if I do like that? Oh, okay, I still get the same thing. So okay, let me consider here for a moment. I have that. I don't need to return. I think I still need to call that dot. What if I do my calc here? Okay. I don't use it very much in this way. Well, but if we can see like arrow function example, I'm certainly doing something wrong here. So let's see, well, you will see that most often we will be able to find some examples here. So, okay, so we have an expression and then we will call and we are able to do something here already with that. So we have that and then in there we can do something else. So let's see if we can find an example. All right, so yeah, so this is the normal function and then we could do an arrow function. So you see, we basically have already that, well, basically it works pretty much in the same way here. So let's see that example here. So I have that, and then I can do a console.log, and then the A. Let's see what we will get here. Just going back. Okay, still not giving me nothing. Okay, so that is not really working. Okay, let me see what happens if I do that inside my... Let me look here. All right, well, I'm getting some errors here, but basically what we could use here is we can we will create like let's say greeting. Let's see, I have an example here. Let me show you an example of a arrow one. So that is pretty much the same thing. Actually, that's my example that I had. So here I already, well, I have like this greet, and then I'm calling inside it. Well, I think that's what might be what I forgot there. And then basically I just have to call the greet, and then I have to pass the element, so I can reuse it over here. So you see that if I do that, I should be able, there you see. So now I have hello John. So basically I think I did like I still missed like the parentheses here, and that's why I was getting stuck there. You see that they're using backticks here because they are concatenating this element, and that is a way that I prefer instead of using pluses. If I'm not wrong, if we wanted to use a plus, we would have to use like something like that, or like this, and then you can do a plus here, and then you will need another one another one here, and then you need another plus here. I think this is basically this would be concatenating, and then I could just pass name here. So you see that is the same thing, you know, but to be fair, I really prefer to use the other option. So basically we encapsulate the strings within the quotations, use the pluses here to connect all the elements, and basically you can just literally declare the variable here, which is name, just like that. And here you see in the console log for the greeting, I'm passing one the name, which is the name from here, and then that's what is doing that over there. So I think if we look back in the example that we tried to do just a little bit, let's just move back here, because now I am intrigued with that. So you see that I could, for example, save that. I could save that over here. I could say a const, and then a calc, which is equal to that. Then I have this, all right, and then I could like pass a console.log, and then over here I will do calc, and then inside here I will do 100. And then you see that now the A stands for the 100, and 100 plus 100 equals 200. So that's what I was doing wrong. So I was jumping some steps there. So you see that even for me that I've been building like already for over, well, I would say over 3.5 years that I've been coding. like as a developer, basically I still make mistakes, and don't expect that you won't make, because you will for sure make mistakes, but it's like always finding ways. So here, like you can always Google and see other ways of doing, and of course some preparation, and you will learn these things over time. So yeah, this is well, also a very good one. And I would say lastly, let me just show you as well like how to work with set timeout and set intervals, because those are also very important. So what is the main difference between set timeouts and set intervals? So over here you will see, well, basically this works like a function as well, somewhat a method, and then you will see that I am declaring the element. It uses like well, set timeout, and then it encapsulates the whole thing here within the parentheses, and then it has like an empty parentheses here, and then it's doing an arrow function, who basically doesn't have any variables in here. That's why it's empty. And then we have like these well, the curly braces there, and then we'll just path an alert, which is set timeout, and this will happen after 5 seconds. So you will see that if I save and we wait 5 seconds, we will see like a set timeout there now. Okay, we saw an alert in this case. Alright, what is the difference between that and a set interval? Well, basically a set interval, which I will just use a shortcut here to get, and I will do it also in 5 seconds. And then I want to do an, well, I won't do alert because I know that it will create something really annoying. And I will just do a console log, and you will see what is going to happen. So let's say hello, or let's see, set interval. Alright, so now let's observe the console over here. So we will have us, okay, that was our set timeout there first. Now it won't be doing nothing. Now you can already see that we have 2 set intervals, we have 3, and basically these will stay running like infinitely. It will never stop unless you would make it stop. So a way that you could use like a combination of set interval and set timeout to stop it is like in the following example I have here. So let's suppose that we want to do something after, well, after we need a set interval, because we want to do something when an element exists, for example, or we want to make sure that this element exists before we are doing something. So here I'm saving the set interval inside of a variable, a const, which is timer to show model. And then let's say here I am basically doing the interval, and I'm just doing a console log, which is hello world. However, as I want to stop it after some time, which is in this case, well, we'll do that first after 5 seconds, and then after 15 seconds I basically just want to make sure that this will stop. So we should see like 3 times hello world, and then it will stop after that. So let's see. And then we will first get hello world 1, probably 2, and now we have the third one, and it's done. And what we could do here as well, to make sure that we know what's going on, we could do this console log, and then stopped, basically. So let's just make this a bit quicker. So I want to do every after 2 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stopped. So you see, after that it stopped, and my set interval won't be doing nothing anymore. So yeah, basically I think those are the main concepts of JavaScript that you need to know if you're gonna be building some A/B tests. I hope you can get some value out of this video. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, to like the video, to share the video, and also let me know in the comments if there's if you have doubts or anything that I can help with as well, in the sense of like be creating some more videos in the future. So I'll be more than happy to take your feedback into consideration. Thank you very much. Have have a good rest of the day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.